So when you put that angry face emoji on my Facebook post, was it because of the pun or because of the it seemed like Scott Moe support?
It was because of the pun. It wasn't a good
Yeah,
pun.
okay, fair.
I was very
I
upset
enjoyed
with
it.
that.
So Saskatchewan just had its provincial election last week or this week. This week, yeah, this week. We're recording Friday. It happened Monday. I think all the results are in. So Sask Party won for the fourth time, and the guy in charge of the Sask Party is named Scott Moe. And I made the joke that said on Facebook that said, "Hey, would we call this a Mojority?" And I thought that was very funny.
I mean, I think I was more angry with the fact that the Scott Moe was elected in again after. Not the fact that everything has come to light recently about his like DUI
Yeah.
charges and the manslaughter and stuff like that, but nobody stopped and like thought about that and was like, it's just really ironic that if he was any other person and not a government official, he would have been like castrated on the spot. He would never work again. He would be charged.
Yeah.
They're comparing him to the Broncos driver that caused the death of many
That
people on the.
I guess more
Is getting
accurately the semi
8
driver
years in,
that hit him. Yeah.
yes, 8 years in prison and deported, and this
Yeah.
guy's
Yeah.
now
No, I
still running our government. So
yeah. Yeah, that's weird that didn't come out earlier. Like at any point. It's always weird when these things always take forever to show up. I guess some of it would any of it be public record? I don't know what the law is about how much you can share
I
about
don't think
that.
it was public record because I saw a post pleading for the guy whose mother was hit and died in the car accident. He's pleading with the RCMP to release this information. So time to get really political with it. And I liked Ryan Miley, and I wanted him to win. Like he was a doctor during the COVID response. He didn't take time out of his campaigning, but he took time off to go help in the like emergency. And regardless if it was like a publicity stunt, it was still way better of a publicity stunt than what Scott Moe did when he's like, "Oh, I forgot my jacket and had to go to a local business to buy a new jacket." And he's like completely like ignoring every single.
Oh,
Oh yeah, they did a photo shoot of him in like an Urban
oh,
Outfitters picking out a jacket, but he wasn't wearing like any masks or anything. He's just there by himself.
I didn't
So
see that.
yeah, it
I
was
mean, not that I was gonna vote for him either for non-obvious reason is the big one, but yeah, we won't get into that too much. Yeah, welcome listeners. Welcome to Kyle and Cody's Cult Cinema Cast, Saskatchewan's favorite cinema podcast, or at least Southeast Saskatchewan's favorite cinema podcast. So yeah, this week we're reviewing Rocky Horror Picture Show, the 1975 version. I know there is like a 2016 version, but yeah, we're
is
reviewing
there?
the 1975. Yep, yeah, or something. It might be a mini series or something, but it's a remake
Huh.
of some sort. It's also a Broadway show, so I mean, the movie's an adaptation. I've heard like some of the
Yeah.
reviews you'll read for this are like, "Oh yeah, the musical's so much better," which is, I don't know, that's probably fair. I don't know. There's a lot of that's a common thing.
Like
Tim Curry is apparently the original guy from the original musical, though. So we're getting a reasonably
you know,
authentic experience, I think.
I don't want to disparage Tim Curry because I mean he's very prolific actor. I've seen him
Yep.
in other things.
Oh yeah.
Most notably, like Captain Hook and oh maybe it wasn't Hook. He played like a pirate in one of the
Peter Pants.
I'm completely drawing no maybe no he played Blackbeard in
Oh. I don't know.
I don't want
I
to
know
say
he was
Sesame
it.
Street because it wasn't Sesame Street. Yes, he was it.
He was in
It was a
Animaniacs a
kids
couple
movie,
times.
anyways.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, he's a beloved actor. Yeah, so continue disparaging him by all means.
Oh, what I was gonna say is he's very recognizable because of his voice, but he's also very recognizable because of like his beard and the fact that he
Oh
was
yeah.
completely shaven in this kind of threw me off as to who Tim Curry was because I thought maybe he was playing some of the other characters and they wear a fair amount of makeup in this movie, so I couldn't get a good read on the face. And he's also a lot younger here.
Yeah, this is like this is obviously not an extreme example, but I watched when I watched Blade Runner a few years ago with my friends, and we like, wow, Harrison Ford is just a baby in this. When you get like that early popular role a guy got, and he's just like, oh, it's a baby version of him. So cute.
Well, even I really hate to say this, but the person who plays Eddie is the singer songwriter Meatloaf, and
Yep.
that guy did not age well at all. Like he's pretty he's an amazing singer, he's an amazing songwriter, but damn is he homely.
Yeah, there's not
I forgot that he was also it was the Muppets. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
That would have bugged me all night because I knew
Oh, what Tim
generally
Curry was in? Oh,
yes,
he
but
was oh, okay, so he's that Blackbeard. I've never seen the movie, but I know what you're talking about now.
Long John Silver,
Oh, okay. Like I said, I
not
never saw the
Blackbeard.
movie.
Yeah,
Uh I know
he's a pirate.
the cast in this is pretty well beloved. I'm doing shock treatment next week for Victoria, and one of the big criticisms for that is like it doesn't have any of the really popular actors from this because it's like a lot of the same crew making shock treatment. I think it's even the same author, if that's the word to use. But yeah, so it's interesting. I think there's other alum in it. I know one of the extras in this is the lead in shock treatment.
I forgot to mention this because it's probably the most favorite thing that I know that Tim Curry's done. He played Nigel Thornberry
Oh
on the Wild
yeah, that
Thornberrys.
guy. That's a show.
And his voice in that show is so recognizable that people have
Yeah.
used it in a thing called ventrilo harassment way in the day, where they went into vent rooms and they just used soundboards of his voice to harass like the gaming Patreons that are sitting in this room. If you guys got the time to look it up, it is ventrilo harassment Nigel Thornberry, and it is quite fun.
I
But
saw
that's way off topic.
I saw one of the Wild Thornberry movies in theaters as a child.
I I knew there was one.
I think there's maybe a Rugrats there's a Rugrats crossover. I don't know if that made it to theaters or I don't know if that made it to theaters or not. I did see a Wild Thornberrys movie in theaters. I was made to go with my mom and sister. Didn't really care for it.
Also, according to Wikipedia, there is also an attorney named Tim Curry. I'm assuming we are not talking about him.
No, I should hope not. I don't know. Is he a good singer? Can we
I don't
afford
know,
him?
but
Can we
he
get him on
passed
the show?
away in
Oh,
2009. So,
okay. So
I mean, how much
so
is the Ouija
no.
board?
I don't know. I refuse to give Hasbro money. I mean, we
Doesn't
can print one
Hasbro
off, but
like make half the stuff that you like?
I know I'm making a joke.
Hasbro does like magic cards, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I think they own Wizards of the Coast.
Transformers.
Yeah, Power Rangers. Um, yeah, that's ironic coming from me.
There's a reboot coming, is there not?
Yeah, sadly, they're not doing a sequel to the 2017 one or whatever it was. That was a good movie.
That one was pretty progressive too.
Reasonably. It was still pretty good. Yeah, it was.
I
It
wouldn't
was
say
a
good.
unique
I would
take.
say progressive, but good is
Mm,
might be. I mean,
no,
it
I
might be
think it's good.
stretching the lines for like a Power Ranger movie because I really don't have a
Yeah,
whole lot of faith in Power Rangers. So
it's probably the best Power Rangers movie. I need to. I haven't watched
yeah,
them
but
all
like
recently.
I've never seen. Okay, maybe I've watched like the first original Power Rangers movie, and I've watched that movie. And out of the two, but
Yeah, I had seen Turbo.
this for its time
Yeah,
is probably the most
Rocky Horror.
progressive movie
Yeah.
we've done this season, at
Mm,
least. You know.
yeah, it's reasonably well aged, I guess. I mean, people still hold it up as like like a good movie. So the LGBTQA community still likes it. So
Although the special effects weren't great, I'll give it that much.
yeah, I didn't really expect them to be though. It's mostly dancing, and I think it's supposed to be like purposely campy to a degree. I think a lot of these are like reused props
hmm
from older movies. I mean, yeah. Let's talk about this for a second. It's one of the main themes of the movie is like accepting like your one's sexuality, or like and like being more freeing of one's gender cultural constraints. I think is the word to use it. So it's kind of like a decent message, really. I think like there's stuff that maybe doesn't directly work, but it I think it more or less does still hold up, like at least on the emotional level. I don't know that you do exactly this today, but I think this is a very good movie for the time. Like when like people go back and it's just like saying, "Oh, it was a different time," to excuse someone using like bad on PC language. With this movie, I more believe it. I don't so much believe it with yeah, with like some other movies.
The one glaring thing that stood out for me is the word transvestite. I don't know if
Yeah,
transvestite is exactly
no,
what
no,
we
it's
would
not.
use anymore. But they did use transsexual too, like within the same song. So,
Yeah, transsexual is a real term. It's taken a back seat to transgender, but there are the odd like especially like some older trans I suppose they'd say transsexual people do identify as that. It's just not what
mhm.
a lot of the kids these days are doing, quote unquote. So yeah, it is like if you like obviously you can't there's a difference between transgender and transsexual on like the philosophical level. I couldn't possibly like give you a good explanation of what it is. You'd have to ask someone who ask a trans person. Ask a trans person who's up in the history. They'd give you a way better answer than I ever could, and I'm not entirely clear on it. But then again, I'm not getting in their way of doing what they do. So
Also, another thing that I want to bring up, one of the characters, Charles Gray, he plays a criminologist in this.
yeah,
What's that have to do with anything?
I think it's a joke on like this is a parody of old timey sci-fi movies, which were really schlocky and dumb. And I think this some of these movies would do like these excerpts from like random old guys off screen who would do like a narration. I think Bella Lugosi did this a couple times. Yeah, if you go back into old sci-fi history, you'll find examples of stuff like this. It's just something really strange for us, a modern audience, to see, but it is a real thing. This is based on like that. Yeah, they get some old guy to like describe what was happening in the
Also,
story.
I do believe that Tim Curry might be returning to come sing in the. I think there's an upcoming show of this somewhere, and Tim Curry's coming out of retirement to come sing in
I
this.
don't think that was it. This year is the 45th anniversary of Rocky Horror. First of all, let's pay heed to that. This is the 45th anniversary of the movie. That's the version of the Blu-ray I have actually. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so they were doing like a big anniversary online event for it, and I think Tim Curry wandered out of his house to attend virtually. So that's what
Yeah,
happened, and it
he's
was like a
partially
big.
paralyzed right now.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't know this. Huh, that's kind of sad.
yeah, and then like a bunch of guys. I think Jack Black did a cover of Time Warp for it, and they're doing like turning it into a big vote for Biden thing. You know
Huh.
our politics on that. We're just gonna pays over that. If you think this is a Trump friendly podcast, I don't know what to tell you. At this point, you haven't been following us very long. Let's be honest. I think let's get into this. Oh
Sure.
yeah, I guess a little bit more history on it. Started as a London stage production. It premiered in August 1975 and has been continuously running ever since in certain theaters. So this is a continuously running movie on like a limited release, which means that it has a $170 million box office in total on like a $1.4 million budget. It's like a classic midnight release. Now's the time of year you'd probably be watching it. So I mean, this comes out a little after Halloween now, but yeah, we kind of watch this at like an appropriate time of the year.
I don't know when this will come up. I'm pretty sure sometime next week, but
Yeah, I'm gonna probably have it done by Wednesday. I don't think I'll quite get Tuesday release. We recorded too late.
yeah, that's on me.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, yeah. So Rocky Horror. The movie opens with like an alternative 20th Century Fox intro that they made special for this, which is always neat. The opening scene is a image of some teeth and like red lipstick, singing the song "Science Fiction Double Feature," harkening back to the origins of the inspirations for this movie. So they sing that song. It's pretty good. It's a nice little opening up. This is a musical, by the way, in case I didn't mention that. Pretty good musical. I like the songs. The songs are pretty good.
Sorry, one of the things I just realized is the guy who played Riff Raff in this is actually the screenplay writer for this
Oh
movie.
yeah, Richard O'Brien. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
didn't
think
know
he's the
that.
guy on the. Yeah, he's I think he's the guy on the cover of Shock Treatment too.
Huh.
Which is a pretty good. Yeah. No, he's pretty cool. Yeah, he's Richard O'Brien. Yeah, he's pretty cool. Yeah. So they sing that song. It goes on for quite a while, maybe too long, but whatever.
Oh yeah, I skipped through it.
Yeah, it has a bunch of old sci-fi references in it, and then we fade onto a church where a couple of the main characters' friends are getting married. Our main characters, Brad and Janet, who are very stereotypical adults playing 50s teenagers. Yeah, that's. I think these people are supposed to be young. Like they're supposed to be like
I
late,
mean,
like 20, and they're clearly not.
it's not the first time we've seen, you know,
Oh yeah, no.
that. And it won't be the last, probably.
I'm not judging. I watch enough Power Rangers to that you can make fun of that. Then I'd be a hypocrite. Yeah, so Janet catches the bouquet as they throw it back, and Brad ends up proposing to the song "Damn It, Janet," which is I like. I like the song. I should just stop saying I like the song every time because then I'm going to say it 13 times because all the songs are pretty much good. So this is just outside the town of Denton, which is his, I guess, Richard O'Brien's setting that he likes. Shock treatment set in Denton too.
Okay, so maybe you can answer this question I've been wondering
Yep.
about. I've been I know this movie has such a big following, and I know this screenplay has been around for a really long time. So throughout the movie and the theatrical release of this movie, I've been kind of watching backgrounds to see if there's anything taken from maybe like the stage and thrown into the movie as kind of an Easter egg type situation, right? In doing this, it's kind of changed how I watched the movie and as a little more analytical about certain things. What is up with the old-timey couple that are sitting in the background of this wedding scene?
Yeah, they're just like like they look like that couple from that cliche old painting that's everywhere of the farmer and his wife holding up the pitchfork. That's what I got out of it. I thought that was just a joke. I don't know if
But
there was something
I mean, the
particular about that.
picture in
Yeah.
itself is shown once again in the castle scene, and then the final scene is this guy's got like a pitchfork gun.
Oh, yeah, he does have the guy at the end does kind of have a pitchfork gun, sort of.
So,
Uh, yeah, that's weird. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I know there's a lot of stuff from like old props that were just lying around Hollywood that they used in this. So, yeah, I don't really know too much of what's up with that. Yeah, so Brad's proposed. They go to meet up with they decide they're going to go talk to a friend of theirs who is a professor um named Scott, who's like an old guy. And after they leave from that, we get our first introduction to the criminologist, who is the guy we mentioned earlier, who does like commentary on the movie. Yeah, he's kind of weird and like part of the joke is that he's pointless and he's kind of like inserting him into the scenes. I think he's meant to represent the regular world. I don't know. He's such a weird character. It's like he doesn't do much. Like he's part of like a obsolete literary trope that doesn't get used anymore. So I think that was maybe the joke then too.
and I think this is kind of boils
Jeez.
down to we're a different generation being introduced to this movie.
Yeah.
We, or at least on my end, I've never watched anything like old timey X Files or any of the science fiction stuff that they're talking more
Oh,
towards.
this is
Like
an
I've
X.
never watched.
Yeah, this is an X file more like this is like pre Star Trek even. This is like the brain that walked or stuff like that. That's not a movie. I hope that might be a movie. Just
um,
the brain that walked. I'm gonna Google that and see if it's. You keep going.
and what I was gonna say is the only real reason that I knew this movie existed or I had interest in watching this movie is because of the movie The Perks of Being a Wallflower. So that's kind of where I
It's
became
not a movie.
interested. To, oh,
The brain
okay,
that walked isn't the movie.
I mean,
There's the brain
we
that
can
wouldn't
have
die.
we have a we can have a transcript ready by like Monday. I've heard worse. Don't
Yeah,
all
that could be
brains
fun.
walk technically?
That could be a joke in the movie. He's just like, like the obviously villainous brain gets up like 2/3 of the way through, and like getting ready for the climax, and just like, you cannot deny me. I am the brain that walks. Wait, don't they all walk? I mean, you're clearly in some sort of fancy robot exosuit. Aren't like brains just piloting our beat Gundams? Shut up.
Yeah.
You will bow before me.
I mean, if there's any way to describe the human body, I think meat Gundams is probably the best way to do it, right? So,
Yeah.
would that make doctors just mechanics at that point?
Oh yeah, doctors are fancy or like really well-educated mechanics.
Shout out to all the mechanics you just pissed off. Hopefully your car doesn't break down anytime soon.
Hey, if the mechanic wants to fix my leg while we're at it, I have a knee that creaks sometimes. You want to fix that too, buddy?
Now you're gonna piss the doctors off too.
This is probably gonna get my leg amputated if I keep talking like this. Anyway, they're driving to meet Everett Scott. They get a flat tire, which the criminologist had told us about. We hear Nixon on the radio, which is weird. So they don't have a spare, so he has to. Brad and Janet go past this castle they just passed, which is a weird thing. We're just like, hey, didn't we just pass a castle? And I'm like, wait,
I don't.
That's why are you saying that like it's a normal statement?
Do we have any kind of reference on where this movie takes place?
I mean, the play debuted in London, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that
like
would make
England,
more sense. Yeah.
Not Ontario.
But everybody,
that'd be a good. That'd be an interesting statement if like this entire thing had like debuted in like London, Ontario. Like that'd be like that. Those people would have done well for themselves, wouldn't they have? It's just like all the way from like that's a nice little origin story for something, and just like he grew up in the slum of the nowhere town of London, Ontario.
Sorry, this actually relates to something that I was going about the other day. I was watching YouTube, and one of the videos that came up on my YouTube feed, because my YouTube feed's all fucked right now. One of the things they suggested was this review of a movie called Little Italy, and it's like Little Italy is a place in, I want to say, like Toronto. And so it was a play on the fact that they were Canadian, but the big kicker to this movie, it was like this no-name budget film starring Hayden Christensen, like after Star Wars.
Weird.
Oh, this
that's not weird. He's not worth much nowadays.
This guy like retired from acting, and it starred Emma Roberts, who also, she was big for a while, and then I kind of she fell off my radar. So
she's been around. Yeah, she's around sometimes.
I thought this was going to be like some little no-name budget, but it was released in theaters, and it did so horribly. For obvious reasons. It wasn't very good, but yeah, that just kind of connected with the whole Canadian London's.
Yeah, there's a lot of Italians out east actually. It's not a common nationality out here, but there's a lot of Italians out in Ontario.
Huh.
Yeah, we have a ton of them. It's just that we don't have them out here too much. It's a lot more like Ukrainian, and German out here, really.
Dutch.
As far as yeah, a little bit of that. Good bit of the UK in there. So yeah, they mentioned that they passed by a castle, which they say as if it's normal, though but I was given the impression that this was set in the United States because like no one has an English accent or anything
Well, Tim
of the
Curry
effect.
is English.
Eh,
I don't know how. I
I
can't
guess.
remember how well he drops it, but
Yeah, I don't.
actually, I'm gonna say pretty fairly well. It's hardly noticeable.
Yeah, he doesn't have like a thick. Besides, he's playing a Transylvanian in this.
Yes, which
Yeah.
I want to say Romania,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm
Romania,
really
Bulgaria.
I took graphics or geography 10, 20, and 30 in high school, and if you maps are horrible.
I don't think they had geography in my school. I don't remember it.
Did you go to Bean Fate or Estevan?
Well, this I'm talking high school. I think I was just
Yeah,
roped in with social studies. We had
maybe.
history.
Not to disparage the Canadian school system, but
I mean, we also didn't have any like computer classes.
what?
Yeah, there was no computer science classes at my high school, which is weird for a 21st century comprehensive school.
Not that comprehensive.
We had a bunch of trade stuff. Like we had a bunch of
Well, I
construction.
mean,
Like we had like a full machine shop, full welding shop, full auto body shop, full construction shop, drafting stations.
we are in the middle of like oil town, like country though.
Yeah,
So
that's another thing. Anyway, so yeah, they make their way to the castle. They make it there in the rain. It is raining very hard. And they come to a door and ask for help. This character named Riffraff answers the door. He is kind of like an Igor type. And it just like lets them in so they can use a phone. And he mentions that there's a big party going on. They make their way into the center of the house and they find a party with a bunch of. Turns out the master of the household has some house guests in. And this is where we get the very iconic song from the very iconic song and dance from the movie. Let's do the time warp again. It's like yeah. It's just a jump to the left and then a step to the right, hand with your hands on your hips. You bring your knees up tight, but it's the pelvic thrust.
yes,
It drives you insane. Let's do the time warp again.
as the criminologist explains it to us,
Yes, in combination
and
with the course.
also the chorus explains it to us, which goes to show that this old white guy is kind of completely and entirely irrelevant and should have been removed from office.
Yeah, he's really only here for this. I think that's the joke, but still. Yeah, so they get caught up in this dance. They get stripped down a bit because their clothes are wet, allegedly, is the reason. They get stripped to their underwear.
I mean, they just throw the clothes on the ground.
Yeah, and Brad
Like, here, we'll
Brad
take
is
those
really
for you.
doing some Brad's really doing his best impression of a Star Trek TNG first officer and just going along with whatever these strange foreigners do.
Sure.
I suppose you
I
haven't seen enough
no
Star
clue
Trek.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, Riker basically does exactly this to please civilians in TNG season 1.
Oh,
If you're really into seeing like Jonathan Frakes like all his chest hair, you can watch that episode. It's not good at all. It's pretty bad because season 1 of TNG is bad. It's very bad. Bad. So they do that. And then we get our introduction to Tim Curry's character, Frank N. Furter. That's Frank, initial N. Furter, who is a who does his song, his debut song, which is obviously Sweet Transvestite, which it's been kept around in modern thing. Like, I don't think like a movie that wasn't so pro LGBT wouldn't get away with using this word in like future tense, but I think this movie has enough points where it can get away with it. Other people think they get this points, but this is an interesting thing because like so many people just bitch when a movie doesn't get its. But people always complain about like them taking like bad words out of old movies when they're not politically correct, and just like, yeah, but it was a good movie otherwise. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, they still shouldn't have done it. And this movie maybe shouldn't have done it, but at least it's like, at least if you're watching this, you're getting a impression that it doesn't disparage these people really.
Hmm.
It's more like you can say this is like a stereotypical portrayal of like a transgender transsexual person, but the message of the movie is very much like, hey, this, you're better off being able to express yourself like this. And that's an important thing with LGBT culture, is like self-expression, and that's why so much LGBT's movie and literature and cinema is so good, is because it bakes in this attitude of self-expression, so they're able to do a lot of stuff. It's not constrained in a lot of places, so it turns out very good. I like my LGBT cinema. It's always very enjoyable to watch them.
I've not done that. I've watched very few LGBTQ movies.
Yeah, I haven't watched too many, but I've just enjoyed it always when I do. And TV also, I think, counts.
And it's nothing against it. It's just people are always like,
No, yeah.
you should watch this,
It's
and you
also
should
like,
watch this, and you should watch this, and I don't have the time.
oh yeah, there's always so much to watch. It's just a matter of like, I only get around to it so often too, but yeah, I always usually enjoy it when I get a sample of it. Yeah, so yeah, we're introduced to him, the Transylvanian transsexual, or the wait, transsexual transvestite from Transylvania is how he's introduced. And yeah, he's I'm using the pronoun he for Frankfurter in this. The remake, it's actually uh he she's actually a she, because in the most recent one she's played by a trans woman by the name something Cox. But yeah, so there is I think this is a gender fluid character to some extent anyway, so I think you can go either way if you really want to. But the literature I'm seeing for this version of the movie, pronouns Frankfurter is a he, so I'm gonna go with that. I did look it up a little bit, so I mean, if I had got it wrong, I apologize. But yeah, for the sake of the thing, I did put an effort to try to get it right. If I did fail in the end to do that, so we'll go with that. So yeah, he introduces himself. He does not provide them with a phone at any point during the movie. Possibly because he doesn't have one. I mean, I think that's a reasonable assumption based on the nature of this castle, as we learn later in the movie. He invites them to go witness what he's having this party for, which is he's Frankensteining something up in his laboratory up top. So they take a old timey elevator up to a laboratory, and they electrify this rainbow colored tank with a bandaged up person inside, bringing to life this character that we call Rocky Horror, which is a person which Frankfurter has created in order for him to have fun with sexually.
Yes.
So yeah, yeah, no, yeah, that's what he's decided to do. I think there's a lot of reasons for this. Could just be that it's hard to find what you're looking for. I mean, we've all at one point or another been like, if only I could manufacture a love interest. We usually don't do that, or usually follow up that thought with like, nah, that'd probably be dumb and dishonest of you. But I mean, Frankenfurter isn't all there, so I think he's maybe in a position to create a person in order to have sex with. So Rocky Horror is a big buff blonde man who is very buff.
I'm not touching whatever you just said with the 10-foot.
Oh, neither would I. I'm just saying.
Don't try and manufacture love interest ever, please.
No, obviously. That'd be weird. It's only like mildly not worse than like, I don't know, incest. So yeah, it's not better.
It's just like the whole movie Frankenstein would be like a very different movie if like Victor Frankenstein fell in love with his monster that he created, and then it's just a romantic comedy at the end of it. Although I would probably still watch that movie.
Although that would have solved a lot of problems. I think some people would have not died in that scenario.
I don't think that's what Mark Shelley was hoping for when she penned Frankenstein, but
no.
I mean, it's not too
I don't think it was.
far-fetched.
There's definitely someone who's reimagined Frankenstein and had some Victor Frankenstein, Adam Frankenstein /fic. That's definitely a thing that's out there.
Oh, probably. I'm not even gonna Google that.
It'll be. I imagine it's easier to find than that Last Unicorn fan fiction we tried finding.
Easier than the Rocky and Apollo Creed fanfic we went looking for.
Oh yeah, no, that's even more obvious. Let's just be frank. I mean, that was just what the movie was about, like Rocky avenging his dead lover. That's just what that was. Like, prove me wrong. Show me evidence that says they didn't bang.
I mean, I can. They were both married, but
that doesn't mean
they both had
anything.
kids.
They could have been having an affair with each other. I think in my review I said that Adrian at least might have been in on it, and also the guys in Brokeback Mountain were married and had kids. For the record, so
once again,
I don't think that proves anything.
Never seen Brokeback Mountain.
That is a sad movie. That is
We've been over this on the podcast before. We know it's
that is a movie where everyone. Yeah.
Does everybody die?
No.
No,
actually,
am I
only
supposed to watch
one
the
guy
movie
died.
for?
No, that was an exaggeration. It's just like Heath Ledger's character dies. I forget which one's which. I have a hard time recognizing Heath Ledger outside of the makeup. So
yeah, I couldn't tell you.
One of them dies. Spoilers. So where was I? Frankenfurter has created Rocky Horror in order for him to have sex with, which he does. Yeah, he does. Straight up. That's not the conflict of the movie. So as they're meeting up, as they're introducing him. Oh, and they. By the way, did I mention that Rocky Horror emerged from a rainbow-colored submersion tank? Symbolism? #.
Sure.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like that's. He's birthing the ideal gay man.
Well, the rainbow flag.
Or
was that,
wait, no,
that already co-opted.
That's not how that works. I apologize.
LGBTQ community at that point in time, or would that have come later?
Let's find out.
When did they start using that flag? I'm going to continue talking.
I spelt it wrong.
The Best Saskatchewan podcast
originated in
where you get
1978,
and I do believe this came out in 75.
Oh, so yeah, no, this actually predates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 70. Oh, yeah, it predates, but only by a few years. So this might have inspired that, or maybe that's just a happy coincidence. Either way,
yes,
I'm not gonna knock that. That's a good Did Richard O'Brien see the future? You decide. Yes.
Maybe he's a time traveler.
These guys might have
Time
had a
traveler.
hand. Yeah, these guys might have had a hand. Like, these guys might have had a hand in that movement either way, so that's not entirely a weird thing. I imagine some of these people were around when stuff was going on.
Sorry, I was just going to make the comment earlier that we're the only Saskatchewan-based film where you get Google searches in real time.
No, we don't get it in real time. I cut out the blank moments.
Still funny.
I don't know if you noticed this, but if you listen to like a podcast, they'll like have like a moment where like they Google it and then like instantly have the results. That's just them editing. I hate to tell you this, but that's just them editing. They're not that fast at Googling. Yeah, they cut out like 30 seconds and it makes them look really smart. The only reason they're not going to think I'm really smart is because Cody's ratting me out.
Now, for this joke to actually make sense, you have to leave in the fact that you're Googling.
I mean, I leave in the fact that I'm Googling. I just won't leave in the time. I skipped past where I was in the notes. Yeah, Rocky Horror's now in the movie. That's his name, apparently. Oh, and apologize for saying. I suppose the correct term for Rocky would be a queer man. Okay, can we just assume that like if I knew what the proper term for it is, I would use that? Because I would. We're in a weird territory here.
We're very, very much so out of our comfort zone because we want to be very progressive. We want to be so open-minded because we are very open-minded people, but we just don't have the type of education that would come with us being able to talk on this type of subject, right? So it's kind of like what we did when we did the other movie for Pride Week is we might have stepped on toes, but we did so with good intentions, right? So,
and we liked the movie. And frankly, what's happening here is fine. So, like, other than it being like creator cest, what's the I don't know. Is this incest sort of? I don't know. It's fine what's happening here. I have no qualms about it. Other than the ethically dubious thing of like creating someone to have sex with you. Obviously.
Yeah. It's like if you gave your sex dolls sentience and then we're like, I don't know.
Wanting to have sex with Tim Curry isn't a crime. Is what I'm trying to say.
Wasn't that this was a movie, was that not? Mannequin, where the like shopkeeper mannequin came to life, and yeah, okay.
Or they brought it to life. Yeah, that's a movie.
Or not Revenge of the Nerds, the one where they grabbed the bra and they were able to make a woman using science. Weird science kind of has this.
Yeah, that's ethically dubious. But like that's ethically dubious for the same reason this is ethically dubious, or this is ethically dubious for the same reason that's ethically dubious. It has nothing to do with like if this was a normal consensual relationship, that would be fine, is what I'm trying to say. And we're gonna move on because I think we've put that into perspective. I have gone off my notes pretty badly here. I'm sorry.
I mean, I think
I soared past it.
I know I've probably talked on this fact before, the fact that Kyle takes notes, and I've always come into this and just spoke my mind on whatever kind of came to pass. What I'm saying, our notes are for chumps, so you wouldn't soar past your notes if you didn't have notes.
The levers in this laboratory, I think, are butt plugs. That's funny. I think maybe they're a bit big or a bit small. I don't know. It depends on your perspective.
Yes.
I need to flip another page. I have like soared past an entire page of notes. So yeah, they're Rocky's flexing around. They're all Frank's very impressed with his creation. He says, "Oh geez, he's perfect." I said he was. I made it sound like he sounded like Morty from Rick and Morty. I was like, oh, geez, he's so handsome. I don't know. It's not going anywhere. I'm moving on. He's just yeah. So Frank is fawning over Rocky, and Janet says, "Oh, I don't know. I don't really like men with too much muscles," which doesn't stop her later. Foreshadowing.
I don't think anything stops any character in this whole movie.
No, I think that's the point. This is about sexual liberation, Cody.
Yeah, but like, also, what's up with this guy in gold?
Rocky?
Yeah, like I get it, like that he's like the blonde pretty boy, but they've got him in like gold chain. He's wearing a gold. I don't think
Speedo?
thong's the word.
Trunks.
Like I don't think those are trunks. Briefs?
No, it is trunks because that's what like Superman underwear is called in real life.
Okay, awful.
Yeah, because that's because it's derived from.
You know, I talked a lot of shit about Zack Snyder's Batman, but at least that's one aspect of the character that he took out of his movies. So
the underwear?
Yeah. Just a callback to.
So what you're saying is you like.
I did not say that.
What you're saying is
I will never say that, and you know I won't.
That you like that Zack Snyder took Superman's underwear off.
I mean, sure, if you want to put whatever words you want in my mouth. I think I give you way too much power as the editor of this podcast, because essentially you could just splice together whatever you want me to say, right?
You're giving me way too much credit as an editor that I can do that.
That's also true.
My edits are bad.
We know. there was one week on the podcast that I think it was the Around the World in 80 Days, and you go,
yeah,
and we're starting in 3, 2, 1, and you left that in.
I think I might have done that on purpose. It's authentic.
Where is the point of diminishing returns on the fact that we're really awful at making a podcast? Like, where do people go to, like, oh, they're trying to be bad, and then they're just like, oh, wait, no, they're just really fucking horrible. like what
I mean, if we say we're bad enough, that's
us.
So interrupting the scene, Meatloaf barges in to run away with one of the characters who's like Frankfurter's girlfriend, what's her name?
Columbia.
He tries to run with Columbia.
Or Magenta. No, Magenta's the sister.
No, right? No, Magenta's the maid. Yeah, Magenta's the maid. So he's barged in and does his song, which is pretty good. Yeah, so they do that. They have a song. He starts to run off, but then Frankenfurter assaults Meatloaf's character Eddie. His name is Eddie, with a pickaxe, which he uses to kill Eddie out of jealousy, which is ethically dubious of him, to say the least.
It's kind of a weird concept at this point in time, because jealousy is...
Yeah, it's a bit of a
mixed message when he's...
This is a bit of a misstep, too, because we're supposed to learn a lesson from Frankenfurter, and, like, he's just killed somebody, and that's going to, like, undermine his lesson?
The only message that I've learned from Frankfurter is that Tim Curry can pull off stockings.
Yeah, that is the message. you're getting into the spirit, Cody. I think that's I think that's the point of this. To make you realize that Tim Curry looks good in stockings.
And I mean,
And
he's been
then I
doing it
think
for like
at that point,
40 or 50 years.
yeah, and I think at that point you've truly understood the message of the movie. I'm only half joking. Yeah, so anyway, I think this is a misstep because we're supposed to like learn a lesson from Frankenfurter, and him killing a guy is a bit much, and it kind of like undermines what he's trying to teach the audience. So every time, like later in the movie, we're just like, oh yeah, he's teaching them about being themselves and being true to themselves. It's just like, yeah, but he also killed a guy, so can you really take him seriously? For like a bad,
Eh,
for like an objectively bad reason too. I mean, not to say you can't learn lessons from objectively horrible people, but it's difficult to learn lessons from objectively horrible people. You gotta overlook the fact that they're objectively horrible people so you can get to the lesson. And a lot of people will just like not let go of the fact that the lesson is not the teacher, and like they need to accept that like the teacher is so very good at teaching, but they can't just take the lesson on its own because they refuse to.
I- okay. Sure, we're getting real into this.
So yeah, they've murdered Brad, which no one really reacts to, or not Brad, Eddie, which no one really reacts to. Everyone's most, except for Columbia, everyone's mostly cool with it. Which I didn't realize everyone hated Meatloaf's music that much.
I mean,
I've never listened to any of his songs, but I mean,
really?
not that I remember, not that I can like attach to him.
He's got some really good ones, but a lot of his music's really long. So I think they might not play like a lot of his music on mainstream like radio stations and stuff because
I
like
mean, the thing at the front of my records collection here is Inagata Davida, which has a 19-minute long song on it, so I might be willing to get into that.
I have Bad Out of Hell like that I listen to like probably on like a daily basis at work, and it's a 9-minute song. I know Paradise by the Dashboard Lights is one of his bigger ones, and that's I do believe it might be 11-minute song. Got a few other songs that post up past 9-10 minutes, but they're not by Meatloaf.
Yeah. So, moving on. So they go to bed for the evening. Brad and Janet are staying the night. During the night, Frankfurter disguises himself first as Brad and then Janet, and then sneaks into Janet and Brad's beds respectively. I think I've got that in the right order. And then uses that as an excuse to sleep with both of them. So
Mhm.
they both uh, cheat on their girl with their fiance with Frankenfurter. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird thing. Yeah, this is all the part of the kind of like muddies up the message a bit. I think toward the like it's wrapped up all right at the end, but it's yeah, I just don't know. I don't have the easy answers for this. It's weird that like they're cheating on their spouse as part of their character growth. So they do that. Meanwhile, while they're doing that, Riff Raff taunts Rocky and gets him to run away and escape, while the maid character Magenta sicks her dogs after Rocky. So he has to escape from the dogs, and he goes missing for a little bit, and that interrupts him, Frankfurter, sleeping with Brad. I think is the order that goes in. One of the two, anyway. So yeah, they eventually do that.
Sorry, I was gonna say you can draw a lot of comparisons from Rocky's character to actual Frankenstein at this point because first of all they sick their dogs on him, and he's also scared of fire. He's also made by a guy named Frank. Um, except
Checks
for in
out.
this,
Yeah,
he's yeah.
yeah. He does get interrupted sleeping with Brad, which is how Janet finds out while she's wandering away around after she's slept with Frank. So she finds out that Brad cheated on her, And then she finds Rocky hidden in the submersion tank, seemingly for safety, and she helps bandage him up, and then she sleeps with Rocky. So
Mhm.
that's going to make Frank mad eventually. So at this point where they've realized what's happening, Frank chases Janet around for a little bit, but thankfully Everett Scott shows up to come looking for his nephew, who is Eddie, who is dead. So yeah, but Frank is a bit mad at Brad and Janet because he thinks that they lured Scott here because Scott is a member of the FBI. So that's going to get him in trouble, obviously, because presumably he's done crimes off screen in addition to his on screen crimes. But this leads to
Is he not actually an alien?
yeah, that's revealed in a little bit. So Frank gets Scott into the house via a fancy magnet, which pulls him through the house through a wall. So this occasion gets interrupted when dinner is ready. So they all have dinner together. After the dinner happens for a little bit, it is revealed that they are eating on a coffin filled with Ed,
It's also
which gets Columbia very upset.
something to mention here is Dr. Everett Scott is actually in a wheelchair.
Yep, he's in a wheelchair, which is why the magnet worked. He's Scott Everett isn't very upset about Eddie getting killed either, so that's a thing. Because Eddie's a bit of a ruffian.
So when this character came in, this this FBI doctor type ordeal, when I heard that he was part of the FBI, I thought he'd be like this big Van Helsing character that you compare to like old timey horror films, but this guy really just gives exposition. Just another old white guy to give exposition. So
Yeah, that's a bit of a issue, I suppose. So yeah, they do that. Then Frank chases them around the building for a little bit, and then he sticks them to the floor in his lab. At which point he turns them into naked statues, as in Brad, Janet, Scott, Rocky, and Columbia. I guess Columbia gets turned into one after she starts scolding Frank. So he gets them ready for a floor show in which they do they each do a little bit of a monologue about to an empty theater about how they their feelings and whatnot, and eventually it results in a big dance number which results in a pool orgy. Yeah, and then they learn the benefits of sexual liberation. Yeah, I think that covers it. So in the end, Frankenfurter did some good. Maybe, kind of. He did still kill this guy. We've talked about this. So this is interrupted and ended by Riff Raff and Magenta coming back in their alien suits to go take Frankenfurter away because he's forgotten why he's here. At this point, it's revealed that he's not literally a transsexual from Transylvania. He's a transvestite alien from the Transylvania system,
mhm.
which is, I mean, take of that what you will. It's a weird explanation. So, Riff Raff and Magenta pull guns on Frank. Frank does his final song of "I'm Going Home," and does it to an audience, which has suddenly appeared in the theater for symbolism, which I don't quite get, which is lost on me. To be fair, he starts to go. He gets threatened with the gun, and Riff Raff says they're not taking him. Where they're killing him, and then taking the castle back to the Transylvania system. So he gets shot, and then Rocky goes up and cradles him, takes him away, and starts to climb a radio tower for some reason, tanking several shots from the laser gun which eventually results in his demise. And I guess this is symbolic of like society not accepting this better, more free way of life. So yeah, Frank, Columbia is also killed, and then Rocky takes several laser shots before also dying. Brad and Janet and Scott are told to leave, so they flee the castle, which is teleported away as they leave, and we get a final song. At least in the UK version, I think some versions leave this out. It's called like Superhuman Superheroes. So they do that, and then roll to credits, and the science fiction double feature gets a end meeting. So yeah, that's the end of the movie, and we all learned something very important.
I mean, the only thing I've got to say about this movie, at least bad wise, is Tim Curry's kind of a little bitch throughout it for somebody who's whose biggest feature in this film is the sexual acceptance and sexual freedom, right? And I think you were talking about that earlier when you said
Yeah, I was.
that the
Yeah,
message was getting construed there, but he's very jealous.
yeah, which is a problem. I think ultimately, like, you need to be able to like absorb these lessons regardless of the teacher, but it does kind of hurt it when you're trying to do like a bit of a when you're trying to teach people, I guess. So it kind of hurts the film. It's still very good though. The songs, if nothing else, make it a joy throughout. So the final musical number is very good, or the finale, the climax number is really good. Most of this, all the songs are pretty memorable. Do you have any fancy points you want to make, or
Not that I can really think of. I mean, I like the music and I like the set, and there's not really a whole lot I can really say against the movie except for some of the other pieces that I've talked on already. Susan Sarandon wasn't who I thought she was, so I mean that was a little upsetting, but I mean it's not. I thought she played in Indiana Jones.
the set is actually really interesting because I get the sense that it literally like it actually functions as a house. Like I don't like a lot of these big mansion sets you get like I feel like I could make a map of this place to a certain degree based on what we see here. Like where you can't always say that with a bunch of these mansion sets where just like it's a bunch of random stuff lying around and they're just going to whatever room they need. But I feel like this is an actual building where like, oh, if I go up this place, I'll go to this room, which is difficult to do in a movie, which says a lot to the set design, I think. And obviously, retroactively, the Pride flag dunk tank is very handy. Great symbolism, honestly. I don't know. We're almost as long as the movie is now. Why don't you give the movie a score, Cody?
There's this, once again, as I said, there's not a whole lot wrong I can say about this movie, but I've been always the one to look at everything subjectively more so than you, who's given off zeros. I think I might have given off a zero. I think I'm gonna give it like a high 9.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm about a 8 myself.
I looked up the remake and who was in that, and it was I don't want to butcher her name, but it's the transgendered lady from
Yeah, she's in Orange is the New Black or something.
yeah, Orange is the New Black, and I've watched a lot of Orange is the New Black, but that's besides the point. That's neither here nor there. I'd like to see the remake. Also, it has Adam Lambert in it, so I mean, not a huge Adam Lambert fan. But
Yeah, this is a 7.4 on IMDb, an 80 on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 65 on Metacritic, which I think is a bit low. But I can see like there being some like real degenerates like disliking this movie,
mhm.
and of course the people I'm calling degenerates would think the people that like this movie are degenerates. So there's a hint of what I think those people might be. Not to say you might not like the movie, but I think this is a movie that gets for a movie that uses the word transvestite. I think this is a movie that's going to get more beloved with time. as more like people become accepting of LGBTQ people or QA people. Yeah, they're gonna. I think this is gonna stick around. Yeah, I'm giving it an 8. I just don't think I can't quite get it a 9 for me. Not to say I couldn't be talked up to a 9 if like I watched maybe I just need to watch like a good another guy review this and like give it a good and just make a case for some of the stuff I don't like. But I could imagine being talked to up to a 9.
Apparently, I'm not good enough to talk you up to a 9.
Yeah, no, it's decent, very good.
Yeah,
obviously a classic. Yeah, no, we're doing Shock Treatment next week, which is the successor to this. Also has Richard O'Brien doing the work for it. It's a pretty good movie. I'm watching that with Victoria. I like that movie quite a bit. Also, I'll save thoughts on it for most of my thoughts till next week.
and I mean, you definitely owe Victoria one good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm letting
Like,
her pick the Christmas movie, to be fair. The one she's doing
it's
in
been rough.
December. So she's only done, I guess she did Last Unicorn, but Last Unicorn was a very good movie. So yeah, so that'll be next week. I'll have you back. I think after Victoria, or I have you back the week after that to do your first movie of the sub theme, which is the worst movies to win Best Picture, which I'll reveal next week to the audience, and then you'll be seeing a bit more of him this month, ideally.
Yeah, I think I've got.
I think we'll like he'll be on the 10th episode, so there's that, which I'll put up a poll of when I put out the 8th episode, something like that. So yeah, that'll be fun. You can follow us on Twitter at KCCCinemapod. Follow us on, find us on YouTube and Facebook at Kyle and Cody's Called CinemaCast. Make sure to circulate the links. Give out good reviews for the podcast and like, comment, subscribes. You can follow my personal Twitter at Lord Brokenshire to see some of my. If you were following the Twitter, which you weren't, you'll get my fanciness there. So yeah, that'll be the thing. Yep, no, that'll be. I think that's it.
Okay.
I guess. Can I stop the recording?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Bye. See you next.